What's up, you guys? My name is Rachel Glamm. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to be here today filming this for you guys. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. It's something that I get asked to do all the time, and that is painting characters. Before we get started, I want you guys to remind yourselves to be patient. This is definitely something that's taken me years to figure out, but even still, I feel like I haven't 100% mastered it. So I want you guys to be patient with yourselves. Definitely do some like trial and error, figure out what works for you specifically, because art is art and there's a million different ways to get the same result. Today, I am just going to be showing you guys what I do and my techniques, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so today we are going to be painting Detective Pikachu, which is one of my most all-time favorite sets that I've ever done. We're gonna be using all Valentino Beauty Pure Gel Polish, and just like a couple cheap brushes. One is from Amazon, one is from Wildflowers, and all the products we'll be using today I'll link in the description box below. I've already gone ahead and prepped my nail tip, so we're gonna start with a matte white nail. The background honestly doesn't matter, whatever color you want to use. However, I personally do prefer to paint on matte. So when I first start out with mapping out how I'm going to paint the character on the nail, I start out with finding a reference photo on my phone, and I'll pretend that the phone is a nail, if that makes sense. I'll take the character and I'll zoom in on it, placing it how I would want it to be placed on the nail. So if the phone was the shape of the nail, this is how the character would be placed. And that's how I kind of reference where I'm going to place the character. It helps me outline it a little easier. So the second part that I think about beforehand is what kind of shapes the body parts are made out of. So if you look at Pikachu's head, he has his little ear, which is kind of like a triangle shape. So these are things that I look at beforehand, because those are the shapes that I'm going to be drawing to create the body. I am going to take my little mixing tray, and I'm going to take Valentino's number 42 and Valentino's number 39, and it's a neon yellow and orange color. I'm going to be mixing these two to create a color of Pikachu's body. Now, if you have a color that is already the same color as Pikachu, go ahead and use that. I don't, so I'm going ahead and mixing my colors together to get that perfect, like, kind of mustard yellow color. I'm going to take my striping brush. I'm just going to mix it together. If you have your color mixed together, what we're going to do is outline his body. I'm going to have my reference photo up while I am working. We're going to be using very little product for this part, and we're going to lightly outline his body. If we mess up at this part, it'll be easy to clean up. And just remember to constantly look back at your photo. Remember that your phone is the nail, and so that's where you need to be placing your lines. So once you have it outlined, it should look something like this. If you feel like you messed up on anything during this part, you can take a small cleanup brush and some alcohol and lightly clean up any lines. Remember, when you are cleaning up lines, to wipe off that excess gel polish before you go back in again. Now that we've drawn the outline, we're going to go ahead and cure this for 30 seconds. During in between your steps is gonna help ensure that you don't mess up. But before you cure, make sure that you really, really love it, because then it's kind of hard to go back and fix it. Once this is cured, I'm going to go ahead and fill in Pikachu's body with the yellow that I mixed. When you are doing this part, you want to make sure that you're applying all of the polish evenly throughout the character. You don't want it to be thicker in one spot than the other, just as you would if you were painting a one color application. And with this part, I am loading up a lot of product in my brush because we need it. Once you've finished applying a even coat all over his body, we're gonna cure it again for another 30 seconds. Once it's done curing, we're gonna take Valentino matte top coat and we're going to apply it all over the whole nail. I like to apply matte top coat in between the layers or the steps, just because it helps smooth out the entire nail so there's no bumps or anything or texture once we're all done. And okay, and then cure. Okay, once that's finished curing, I'm gonna take gel polish number 005, which is a red. I'm just gonna take very little of this because we don't need a whole lot of it. And I'm going to be taking a dotting tool. Sorry, I didn't mention the dotting tool in the beginning, but you need a dotting tool. I'm gonna take the bigger end of my dotting tool and I'm going to do the little dots for his cheeks. Now for this part, notice where they place the dots. So when I am looking at my screen, I see that this dot starts where his arm is, as well as this one. So I'm gonna kind of use his arms as reference points for where I'm going to put the two little blushing cheek dots. I'm gonna dot it in. I have quite a bit of product on the dotting tool just because his little red cheeks are a little bit bigger than the size of the dotting tool. So I'm just gonna keep pressing into the center of the dot until it's the size that I want it to be. Go ahead and do that on the other side. And if you notice, I'm also using my pinky to stabilize my hand. For the detailing parts, I don't cure it for the full 30 seconds. I'll just flash cure it. And then once I'm done with all the details, then I'll go in and give it a full cure. Okay, so now we're gonna go into his eyes. I'm gonna be using gel polish number 48. Which is black. I'm going to take a lint-free wipe with some alcohol on it and clean my brush off. Now for his eyes, he has a little winky eye and an open eye. So I'm going to begin with the winky eye. I'm going to fully cover my brush and product on both sides, but I'm going to keep dragging it out to make sure that it's evenly coated around the entire brush. So it should look something like that. His eye starts about the middle of his cheek and then comes to where the end of his mouth will start. So those are where my two reference points will be. So I'm gonna take my brush about in the center of his cheek. I'm gonna make a dot and then a little bit out, just like that. That's where the end of his mouth will start. And then we're going to draw a half circle. Notice I am balancing my pinky on my other hand so I'm not shaky. I'm using a very, very, very light touch. And there's his little winky eye. And then above it is just a small line right here. Just a little detailing factor to make it look like it's winking a little more. And then his other eye is simply just a dot, so we're gonna use our dotting tool again to create that. The other eye is in the same spot as the winking eye. So you wanna angle it towards the middle of the cheek. I'm gonna place the dot there. And to make it look a little bigger, I'm just gonna keep pressing the dotting tool into the center of my dot, push the product out into a bigger circle until it is the size that I want. And right in the center of both of his eyes, we're just gonna draw a tiny little dash. I'm literally going to angle my brush horizontal to the nail, and right in the middle of his two eyes, I'm just gonna lightly touch it just like that to create his nose. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna flash cure it so the product does not move. We're going to lightly dip our brush again and pull the product out so it's evenly distributed all around the brush. You want your lines to be thin, so you don't want too much product on your brush. So then right in the center of his nose, we're gonna create two little swooshes, connect them together. And then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna make two straight lines coming from the ends of his mouth, going kind of in a V direction. We're gonna connect it with a round end, like that. And we're gonna draw a line in his mouth, just kind of a curved line for his tongue, just like that. Flash cure. Now to do his mouth, I'm gonna take some more of that black that I just had and fill in the back of his mouth. Again, not a whole lot of product. I took a small amount, placed it down, and then I'm spreading it to where I need it to go, only using the tip of my brush. I'm gonna flash cure that, and then we're gonna fill in his tongue with the red that we used for his cheeks. Okay, so at this point, this is when we need to take deep breaths and make sure that we're not shaky and we are prepared, because this is the hardest part probably. We are going to outline his body now with the black lines and really give him his shape. So for this part, you're going to want to use very little product and very little pressure on your brush, so that way the lines come out even and crisp. I'm gonna dip my brush in and drag it out, make sure my brush is fully covered and saturated with the product. However, it's smooth, just like that. We don't want it to look like this, okay? We don't want it to be like, see how much thicker that is? You can kind of see like a little bump on it. I want it to be very smooth. Okay, and now we're going to outline his body. So for this part, constantly refer back to the picture so that way it matches. You should constantly be referring back to the picture throughout the entire process. You can see like where his ears are, like the line comes out a little farther. You want to pay attention to these little details like this, how it comes in right here, how it comes in down here, how it comes in over here. Like, you want to pay attention to those lines because those are the details that make him look like Pikachu. When you take those small details out, it makes it look like there's something off about him, and you want it to look like the picture. You don't want like a derpy Pikachu. Like I said, very thin lines. This part's very crucial that you use your pinky to give you stability. And I'm just going to be using the tip of my brush. I'm just going to outline his body. As you can tell, there's really not a whole lot of pressure on my brush. It's very light, so that way I can get that nice crisp line. Make sure there's no fuzzies on your brush. We're going to draw a diagonal line down his ear. We're going to fill that in with the black. Give that little detailing to his ear. And then on this ear, you don't really need to worry about it since it's cut off. All right. And then we're gonna put it in the lamp to cure. I'm going to take gel polish 45, which is white. A very small amount of this. We literally just need a dot. And with the tip of my brush, I'm going to add the tiniest detail, a little white dot in their eye that makes it twinkle. I'm literally going to take the tip of my brush, dip it in the white, and put the little white dot on his eye. Give him a little twinkle. Ding. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it. I'm gonna give the nail a full 30-second cure just to make sure everything is really dried and cured on there well. And then I'm going to matte top coat it, and I'm going to use 2 coats of that just to ensure that the texture of the nail is smooth, there's no lumps or bumps, and make sure everything is really sealed in there. And I'll show you guys the final results. Alright guys, here's the final look. Like I said, I will link all the products that I used today down below. Alright you guys, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments down below if you thought Pikachu was too hard, if you thought he was too easy, if you have other suggestions for videos. And also, if you want to, you don't have to, but please like and subscribe to my channel. It would mean the world to me. And until next time.